Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Still with you on tonight's edition of the Daily Debate, and for our second segment of the show today we have another interesting topic. Under the visionary leadership of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, Egypt is transforming into a hub of innovation and manufacturing excellence. From advancements in the automotive sector to strategic international partnerships, Egypt's journey towards economic prosperity is inspiring. We have more details in this report.
In the heart of the Middle East and North Africa, Egypt is undergoing a remarkable transformation, emerging as a beacon of industrial growth and economic stability. Under the visionary leadership of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, the nation is steadfastly advancing towards becoming a regional hub for automotive manufacturing and industrial innovation. This ambitious journey is not only revitalizing Egypt's economy, but also setting a benchmark for progress amid regional volatility. Egypt's automotive sector, with a legacy spanning over 5 decades, is experiencing a dynamic resurgence. Historically focused on assembly operations, the industry is now shifting gears towards comprehensive manufacturing. The government's introduction of the Automotive Industry Development Strategy aims to position Egypt as a pivotal gateway to the African automotive market. This strategic initiative is fostering robust trade and investment relationships, laying the foundation for a diversified and resilient economy. The nation's capacity to produce 300,000 vehicles annually underscores its potential. With global automotive giants establishing production lines within its borders, Egypt is poised to significantly enhance its local production capabilities. This expansion is not merely about increasing output, it's a strategic move to integrate into global supply chains, thereby boosting exports and fortifying the economy. Central to Egypt's economic renaissance is the empowerment of the private sector, recognizing private enterprises as engines of innovation and productivity. The government is implementing policies to stimulate private investment and entrepreneurship. While industrial growth is imperative, Egypt is also mindful of environmental sustainability. The government is addressing climate challenges by exploring cleaner technologies and implementing policies to mitigate environmental impacts. Balancing industrialization with ecological responsibility is essential for sustainable development and aligns with global environmental standards. Egypt's strategic focus on enhancing its industrial and production sectors is yielding tangible results. Through visionary leadership, targeted initiatives, and international collaborations, the nation is carving a path towards economic prosperity and regional leadership. The concerted efforts to stimulate the automotive industry, empower the private sector, and foster sustainable development are not only revitalizing the economy, but also contributing to regional stability. As Egypt continues on this trajectory, it stands as a testament to the transformative power of strategic planning and unwavering commitment to progress.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Still with you on tonight's edition of the Daily Debate, and delighted to be joined in the evening by our guest in the studio, Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, Professor of Economics and our banking expert. Dr. Mohamed, it's a very good evening, and thank you so much for coming in today.
Good evening to you and our audience, and I would like to thank you and Daily Debate team for this kind invitation.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Now, Doctor, let's start, in your own opinion, how do you see the introduction of, for example, the Automotive Industry Development Program? How do you see it influencing the growth and localization of Egypt's automotive sector?
Actually, one of the most important things, in my humble opinion, is to focus, I would like to return back a step, is to focus on our GDP structure. Our GDP structure actually consists of three main pillars. The first one, which is the agricultural part, and the second one, which is the industrial part, and the third one, which is the service part. To wrap up things and to simplify to our audience, the agricultural part is important because if we didn't own our food, we will not own our decision. And if we go for the industrial part, which is one of the most important topics nowadays, which is help in decreasing the unemployment rate, and we can see that this is easily. As far as I recall, the unemployment rate in 2013 reached to 13.5%.
Yes.
And nowadays it's around, as far as I recall, 6.5%. You can imagine the decrease of this.
Almost 50%.
Thank you. Accordingly, focusing on industrial part, which is the most important things, decreasing the unemployment rate, but it should have a lot of logistics. One of the main things to have the infrastructure, electricity, the roads and the logistics for this, in addition to investing on one of the most important assets on any country, which is the human beings. And if you'd like to invest in human beings, actually you have to invest in two important things.
Right.
The health and the education.
Absolutely.
And you can see nowadays that the government is focusing on the education part and the health and increasing the budget to invest on the human beings. And this is possibly reflect on a lot of things. And to turn back to our point, which is the automated part, this is considered one of the most crucial things on the industrial sector, which will help on developing our GDP and make our GDP growth, let me say it, the run rate, which will boom, in my humble opinion, in a short time. And I believe that we did a great initiatives to to motivate a lot of multinational companies that if you would like to do whatever or to manufacture cars on the country, if you increased the local components, like as far as I call it, reach to 60%, you'll have a lot of incentive, tax waiver, in addition to a lot of facilities. And this is, in a nutshell, it will help and facilitate to decrease our unemployment rate, in addition to help the economy to boom. As you know, that the local ingredients or the local components for manufacturing will come from where? From the local market. And the local market, nowadays you can see a lot of initiatives concerning what we are calling it supporting the local industry. One of the most important things, which is in my humble opinion, the SMEs, the small and medium enterprises. And if you would like to build a stronger economy, in my humble opinion, you have to focus on SMEs. And you can see that in a nutshell, we are taking the best practice. Honestly, to be honest with you and our audience, we are not inventing the wheel. We're taking the best practice. And we are building on it. Thank you. Accordingly, SMEs, why SMEs? To simplify or to elaborate more for our audience. If hypothetically, if we have an economy, we have two main companies. If one of them is defaulted, what will happen? We will lose like 50% of our economy. Accordingly, if we diversified our economy,
you cut your losses.
Like in another word, metaphorically, don't put all eggs
in one basket.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Or in another term, as an investment term, you have ABC investment, you have to diversify your portfolio. To turn back to our point, the industrial part, accordingly, focus on this part, on the automotive, one of the most growing industries globally. And I believe in a couple of years, we are having a strategic plan to export cars to our neighbors. Especially we have a lot of strategic agreement and the strategic alliances. One of the most important things, like the BRICS and a lot of things. And you can see easily that Egypt is returning back to play its historical role. Accordingly, we can see that in parallel, a lot of things is working together. The political side, that Egypt is returning back to play its historical role accordingly, in addition to, in terms of developing the country, the industrial part and the agriculture part, and the last one, which is the added value services, the added value or the service part, which is the most, what we are calling it, the quick win thing to have a growing economy, because it's counting on the technological parts, the things that is growing fastly. And there's a correlation between the automotive part and the service part.
Absolutely.
As you know, nowadays we can see easily that a lot of cars is working with the new services, the new technology,
Yes.
and a lot of our, especially the new generation, or they are technology savvy. You can see this, and if we're applying this technology and combine it with the industrial part, I believe that we will have a local competitive product. And in addition to that, this is possibly reflect on one of the most crucial things, our competitiveness report. What is a competitiveness report? It's a global report that giving countries ranking according to a lot of things. One of them, the manpower, the roads, the logistics, the facilities, the credit rating, a lot of things. And if you are enhancing and jumping in this report,
you become more attractive, I guess.
If I'm an investor, I am seeing this one of the most, the first thing I see if I would like to enter a country to invest, I'm seeing this, and all those initiatives reflected on the competitiveness report that Egypt jumped a lot of ranks, especially, and it's an investment hub, good investment hub, recommended globally. And you can find this is correlated to our credit risk. Accordingly, the automotive part is one of the most crucial industries, because there's a great correlation between the industrial part and the services part, and they are collaborating together to introduce a new local automotive product, actually. And I believe we will work on it to not just collecting the parts or giving local parts to also collect it and manufacture the car. We will actually export.
And this is another target to bridge the gap between imports and exports, which is a very, very important target as well for the Egyptian state. Right, Doctor, let me ask you now, the Egyptian government is fostering the growth and the role of the private sector, and lots of things are going towards that. We're talking about legislation, we're talking about, as you said, ease of business investment, we talk about the subsidies and incentives, etc. How do you see this contributing to economic development, as well as a very important issue, as you mentioned, that of job creation, which is critical?
Actually, it's a good question. Actually, you hit a nerve. This is one of the most important things that the presidential leadership and the government is focusing on.
Yes.
Especially, you can see that nowadays the economic group, in terms of the ministers, they are working together in terms of the exporting part, in addition to decreasing the importing side, in addition to offering what we are calling it full integrated local products, has a competitive edge. And I would like to emphasize on the competitive edge. And you can see this is easily that Ministry of Investments is working in parallel with Ministry of Finance. The objective is to work together to facilitate things, especially for investors, to have a local products. One of the most crucial things, not for automotive part, for a lot of products, if you would like to invest in Egypt and you are an investor, if you have, like, as far as I call, 60% from your ingredients or your components, the local components, you will have a tax deviation for a while. And you can see that the Ministry of Investments, they facilitated a lot of things. They have what we are calling it the one window and the golden license.
The golden license,
you can
yes.
nowadays, you can honestly, and Prime Minister Dr. Madbouli highlighted on this, you can also nowadays establish your company in I can say it, nothing, no time, in a, metaphorically no time. Accordingly, this is positively reflect and giving a positive signals to the global that Egypt is coming the new business hub globally.
Right. You mentioned an important thing, which is the need to demonstrate Egyptian resilience. So we're talking about demonstrating the resilience of the Egyptian economy, maintaining a positive, trajectory despite the global economic challenges. As you know, we don't operate alone. We're surrounded by so many economic challenges. How do you see, Egypt's strategy in dealing with this?
Actually, you highlighted one of the most important things, the global challenge.
Yes.
And I am recalling one of the quotes for Heraclitus, old philosopher, as far as I call Greek philosopher. He said that the only constant in the life is a change.
Yes.
Our world is quite dynamic, metaphorically. And this is quite challenging. And I believe that the government and presidential leadership has a strategic vision in terms of, I would like to return back to one of the most, I wouldn't like to say it's a complicated thing, it's the SWOT analysis. But I would like SWOT analysis, which is the strengths and weakness to elaborate to our audience, opportunities and threats. I would like to invert or mix those letters to say TWAS analysis or TOS analysis. Okay, the objective of this nowadays that Egypt is working on, what we are calling it threat, they are trying to change it to be opportunity. What we are calling it weakness, the government is focusing, and presidential Fattah al-Sisi is focusing to make it a strength point. For example, one of the most important things globally, there's one of the most important things that was a great threat to the globe, which is the COVID-19, the pandemic.
Yes.
As you can, everything locked, everything, a lot
Shut
of
down.
economies is not just shut down. A lot of economies are losing billions of dollars, billions of euros, and what happened, what is the opportunity from this? If you have a strategic vision, you will see that this threat will help you to have an opportunity. That's what the government and presidential Fattah al-Sisi is doing nowadays. The world is quite dynamic and we have a lot of challenges. From one of the most important things that threats globally, that we are trying to change our everything to have what we are calling it digital government.
Yes.
Digital solutions, offering digital solutions. You can see nowadays that you have, if you would like to pay things, you have to pay with a credit card. Nowadays you can, with your mobile, actually.
Yes.
One of the most important things, we are trying to cope with the dynamic or the changes, the global changes.
Yes.
Everything nowadays you can, when you enter a governmental area or a governmental sector, if you would like to take your service, sorry, we are not accepting cash.
Yes.
We are accepting a credit card.
Online payment.
Online payment.
Yes.
And this is one of the most important things that help it also to have what we are calling it the financial inclusion. What is the importance of financial inclusion? A lot of our audience is listening to financial inclusion. It's something important. What's the benefit to me? I would like to know. If I'm audience, I would like to know. To simplify this term to our audience, financial inclusion is to merge the what we are calling it the gray economy or an official economy to be official. Thank you. Accordingly, okay, great, this is something great. How it will reflect on me as a normal citizen? It will reflect on a lot of things. If we monitor the gray economy and its billions, this will reflect on the tax, and accordingly it will be monitored and decrease the crimes and decrease a lot of things, and everything will be monitored. The digital solution or the digitalization will be the tool. Accordingly, it will reflect on me on increasing education, health, enhancing roads, enhancing public transportations, and those are one of the most important things. And nowadays that the government and Ministry of Finance, in addition to Central Bank of Egypt, is working together, and the banking industry, as far as I recall, nowadays you can see that the percentage of banked people reached to 70 to 80%. It was 5 years ago, it was like 30%, for as far as I recall.
So it's even more than double.
Low percentage. In no time, the government has a strategic things, and this is aligned with our strategic objective to have sustainable finance, or financial sustainability in another term, and this is aligned with our strategic vision 2030. Can you imagine that everything is reflecting on our, or going with our 2030 strategic vision? And you can see, and our audience, that all sectors are working together to enhance the economy. And nowadays the government is doing a great thing. One of the most important things that to bring FDI, because we have an ambitious plan to bring
foreign
FDI,
direct investment.
Foreign direct investment. Thank you. This is one of the most important things. A lot of companies that the government is managing it, nowadays they are getting out from it and giving opportunity to the private sector to manage. And as far as I recall, one of the most important things, the last discussion, the Prime Minister held it with all private sectors from all heads and from all sectors, to have what we are calling it solutions for the economy to enhance and speed up or accelerate our pace to have booming economy.
Another role, given the energy intensive industries, Egypt is working towards implementing a balance when it comes to industrial growth with renewable energy sources, aiming to become a hub for the production of such renewable energy sources, as well as creating environmental sustainability, all aligned to the 2030 strategy, as you mentioned. How do you see the importance that the state is putting on the issue of energy?
Actually, I would like to highlight, it sounds like a music to my ears when you are saying things, you are returning back to 2030 vision. You can see that everything is planned nowadays. You can see there's a plan and there's an implementation for this plan.
And it's a long-term plan. It's not just a couple of years in ministry.
And honestly,
driven.
It is a great challenge. I recall one of the famous quote for one of the famous strategic planning science, Henry Mintzberg. He's saying that it is easy to plan, but it is difficult to implement.
Indeed.
The challenge is the implementation,
of course.
Actually. Accordingly, the government and President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi having a great plan to implement things in a proper way, and this is possibly will reflect on our economy. To return back to our point, to have all sectors are working together in terms of enhancing economy, and have what we are calling it alternative for the old energies, sources of energies, which is the new renewable energy. This is a global trend and aligned with our vision. Accordingly, by the way, Egypt is doing a great job in terms of this part, because we have a vision that one day those resources, the oil or the oil part or gas or whatever from the non-renewable resources will obsolete.
Indeed.
Will not be there. Accordingly, we have to find alternative, and all the globe is seeing this crystal clear. I would like to emphasize that it's crystal clear, and the evidence for this, that as far as I recall, Egypt hosted the COP27, as far as I recall. This was a positive signal message to the globe that Egypt is on the right track and on the same page with the global direction. Accordingly, focus on renewable resources is a great thing, and it will be a competitive edge to Egypt. Especially, we have a great location in terms of we are on the middle of actually
the whole world, really.
The entire world,
yes.
yes. And
Right
Suez Canal, which is historically one of the most important things that connect the globe, all countries together. Accordingly, thinking or going for renewable energy is a strategic tool to continue on our economic development or economic reform, in addition to help us to achieve our ambitious plan concerning 2030 strategic plan.
Right. Finally, Doctor, and very quickly, because I'm afraid we're running out of time, let me ask you, what new industries are you seeing now emerging as key contributors to GDP growth?
This is actually important question. Hats off for asking for this question. Actually, in my humble opinion, if I would like to answer this question, I would like to return back to what we started with, our GDP structure. As I highlighted to our audience, that we have agricultural part, industrial part, and the third one, which is the service part. If you would like to have a booming economy and doing the quick one, you have to focus on the service part. And this will help a lot to have a strong, and the pace of growth will be quite high, actually. And SMEs is the main pillar for this, and specific industries that we have to focus on.
Yes.
The new era, actually the digitalization and the technology, will be the new era. Nowadays you can work from home and you have just your programming, artificial intelligence, doing everything online. Accordingly, technology will be the new future, and if you would like to focus on something, we have to focus on the technological part.
So artificial intelligence and technology and modern technology is the strategy that you see best to be focused on in the near future. And I guess finally, do you see the Egyptian economy progressing in a positive trajectory? Just tell us your predictions very quickly.
I would like to highlight, not just to say my opinion, it's booming. I would like to highlight that, or to emphasize that the global or the world is seeing this is a great economy. And my evidence for that, one of the most important things, that the credit risk rating for Egypt is enhancing.
Yes.
And a lot of strategic alliances Egypt is entering it, actually, or doing it in a great way. One of the most important things, the BRICS,
yes,
strategic financial and political alliance that will change, in my humble opinion.
Absolutely. It's really diversifying.
It will reshape the world.
Indeed. When you say reshape, you mean put new countries in economic power. That's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Absolutely.
To have the economic, actually the economic map will be quite different in the coming decade.
Wonderful. On that very, very positive note, I'm afraid we've run out of time, but I'd like to thank you very, very much. Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, a professor of economics and our banking expert. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you this evening with us on tonight's edition of the Daily Debate.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we wrap up today's edition of the Daily Debate. We do hope you have enjoyed it. You're in the company of myself, Angie Meher. Thank you for watching.